Welcome. Today we're going to make some salt clay. Have you ever wanted to sculpt something or just play with some clay and you didn't have any around, not even a can of Play-Doh? Well, this is an easy recipe to make with all the ingredients that you may have at home. It takes 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of salt, and 1 cup of water. It is air dried. Now, depending on the thickness of your project, will depend on how many days it may take to dry, but you do want it to be dry. I also have here some food coloring, and that is to be added to the water if you wanted to change the color of your clay. Add it to the water before you mix it. You can put the mixture of salt and flour into separate bowls and then separate the water and just put a couple of drops of each in it if you wanted to do multiple colors. Today we're going to be making a toucan. You need 2 craft sticks, and other than that, maybe just a little plastic knife to help, form some of the clay. And there's one that I had made already. So he's standing there all by himself on his stick legs. And I also made a little gnome on the bottom. So why don't we just get started? I already poured the flour and the salt into the bowl, and I'm mixing it to blend it a little bit before I add the water. Because what I want to do also is I want to add, just put a little bit in a separate bowl because I want to make a little bit of yellow. Because you can add it, and the best way to get color is to add the color to the water before you pull it in there. So I'm just going to put on my gloves here, because when I add in the water, it will be pretty mushy, and especially with color. With color, you probably want to wear gloves because you don't want your hands turning the color of whatever you're putting in the water. So I'm adding, this is just regular flour. What I'm adding is the water now. So I'm going to put the majority of it in there. This little bit here, maybe even less, I am going to add just 2 drops of yellow prior to putting it into the salt and flour mixture. So that goes in there. I'm going to stir this around. But, I mean, you can stir it with the spoon if you want. But actually, it actually mixes up fairly well. And then you can just mush it with your hands. See how it's going like this? Actually, if you use your hands, you can really mush it good. And sometimes you just have to work it like this. I'm going to use the spoon in here. This is pretty yellow, as you can see. I'm mixing this up, and this is making a really good consistency also. So here's a nice little ball of the yellow, which I'm going to put right there. And like that yellow really worked up really, really well. Now, you can make anything you want with these. I had started to make a little toucan, and it consists, you need some craft sticks for the legs, and you would just cut out some feet. Now, if you were doing the feet, we can use the yellow. So the yellow here, and balling it up. You're going to make like 2 things. These are going to be the little fat feet. And you would press it down a little bit. And then you're going to take a knife and you're going to score it like that, because those are going to be his, oops, I'll take a little piece out of there, a little piece out of there. And then I'm going to point this out. So now it looks like kind of like a foot. This one looks too big. There. So there's one. So there you go. You have 1 foot. And again, I'm putting it on parchment paper to dry. Now this foot, now I'm not going to have to paint it because it's already yellow, which is great. So then I'm going to make the other foot. I'm making the other foot, again, just pressing it down, taking your knife, cutting it, scoring it out. It's almost like cutting a little piece of pizza out of there. You want them to be like triangles. And you want them to be pretty fat. And the reason you want them to be pretty fat, because, like I said, the craft sticks will be going into them. So now we have the 2 feet here. Well, one doesn't look as great as the other one. So you can just play around with it. But just to let you know, the craft sticks will be going in. So I'm just going to make a mark with the knife here, where the craft stick will go. 1 and 2. And then what we can do is we will start on the body of the toucan. All right? The body isn't real big, all right? It did make a lot of clay here. It does make a lot. So, the shape of the toucan is, I have a picture of one that I've seen on the internet, just to give you an idea. All right, so that's what we're doing. This one has a bottom to it, but I tried one already and I just made 2 big fat feet and it seems to work fine. And I'll show you the finished product in a little bit. But see how the body is like that? And his beak is huge. So you don't want it too heavy, but you do need a good thickness, only because you're going to be putting the craft sticks up into the other area. So it's almost like making, let's see, what was that looking like? Almost looks like a big comma or something, you know? But then you want to cut to get the mouth. His head is going up. So, and again, his body's right there. I'm not even thinking of the wings or anything. There's his body. There's his head. And then you're going to bend it over to make his big beak. And now the bottom part is a lot smaller, so you're going to cut a piece off. Put it in there. All right? So it's something, it almost looks like a dinosaur, if you ask me, but, you know. Now, that's his beak right there. So you need an eye. So I'm just going to take a little bit of clay here. And whenever you're putting more clay on, make sure you wet it so it blends in and it stays. So there's a big eyeball right there. All right, now I'm going to twirl this around and show it to you. So here is the body. All right, I didn't put the, I'm going to put 2 holes in here for the craft sticks. All right, and I didn't put the his wings on yet, but you can. And you're going to do one side at a time. You do this side, and then you're going to flip it. And the wings are just like triangles. So you just push it down. They don't have to be that heavy. You just want to cut them really nice to be a nice little triangle and fit on him. So you're going to put it right like that. And again, a little bit of water. I know I'm getting yellow water on mine here. But I'm going to paint him, and I'm going to actually gesso him. So all white before I even put the colors on him. So then that way, you know, you get a nice, the colors will really shine up. Okay, so then I'm going to turn him over, and I'm going to make another eyeball on. Now I'm going to take my little toucan and I'm going to put him aside, and I'm going to show you how to make a little gnome, okay? And this is like one of the easiest things you can do, and it is fun. So I'm just balling it up like this. Again, I think I'm going to just throw whatever water I have on here from this here thing. Okay, and most gnomes have these little hats. So you're going to start working it so it is like into a triangle. A little fat gnome just standing like that, right? Make sure it's not so dry. Okay, I just had to go and get some more water because this little guy's drying out. So I'll stick him down here like this, right? And his hat is kind of pointy. You can even pull it up if you want and have it come over. Or you can just leave it like that. And then we're going to take some more clay. And the little gnomes that you see in the garden, they mostly have, well, the ones I've been seeing in stores lately, have these little round noses. So you're going to make a little round nose on this guy like this. Well, make sure you have room for the hat. All right. So that's his hat. Now this nose is way too big. This is a bulbous nose here. So we're making a smaller little nose right there. Let's get it on. Now most of these little guys too, they have beards. I'm going to use my trusty garlic press here. I'm going to wet up some of the clay. I don't want it too wet, but I need it so it will go right through the garlic press here. And so I'm putting it in like this. All right. And I'm squishing it. Oops. Come on through. See? Now you have all this nice little curly stuff, curly clay that you can put right under there, nice and easy. And it's wet enough, so this is like his little beard. Put some more in there. See how it goes right through like that? Oh, look at that. It's almost like spaghetti. Pretty awesome. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you how we're going to be painting these and putting them together, and a couple other little ideas. Alright, we're back. We're going to just show you how to gesso the little things, the little clay projects that you had made. Now this is the sun. I told you I had made that out of actually a snowflake thing, cookie cutter, and I did put it on a stick. So I can put this right into the pot, like a potted plant, or even outside in the garden. What I'm doing is I'm covering it all in a gesso, and that's the sides all around, because this will give it a nice base. Now if you don't have gesso, you can just use white acrylic paint, or just whatever white paint you have. And the feet I made before, they're not the yellow feet we just made, but these feet I made before. And this was, I'm going to bring in my Toucan, and these are the sticks. So just to let you know how it's going to look. So here is my Toucan. All right. So I'm going to have to gesso all these parts also. Painting our little Toucan and our little gnomes. So I put out some paint on a paper plate. It's an easier cleanup way that way. I did several oranges, yellow, green. You have a white. You can mix the orange with a little bit of the two oranges together and the white to make a nice salmon color. And it works good on the beak. But I didn't have any black paint. So what I'm using is a Payne's Gray, and it works just as well. So I only painted this one side so far. All right. Now the little bird here is actually, the clay was still a little bit wet. So just to let you know, so if it has to really be dry, you really have to have it dried pretty well in order for it to for the paint to stay and for it not to crack. Because we're just doing this video here, it is taking a while for it to dry, and I just wanted to show you the nice colors you can put on it. So I'm going to move this aside for a minute, and we have the feet. On the feet I did put some orange details, and I'm going to put the cross sticks in here. I'm going to move him this way because he's only painted on one side. And I'm getting black paint on my hands, but that's all right now. And we're going to stick the cross sticks in those slots that we had made. And he should stand there pretty good. But seeing how mine is still wet, he didn't dry thoroughly. So the paint is actually making him soft. and you really don't want that. But I'm going to leave him down here to dry a little bit more. And I just want to show you, this is like one of the garden sticks, you know, to put in a pot that I made. I painted this all yellow and orangey because it was the sun. I'm going to go over his face. I'm going to use a Sharpie to do more detail on his face later on. And then you can use a clear shellac or a varnish, and you can use that to put one of the little gnomes that I made too. And I just painted him. I actually used some fingernail polish, old fingernail polishes, to paint him. And it's just a little tiny gnome. And the other gnome that we made, the bigger one, he is here and he's drying. See how he's all turning really, really lighter than the actual clay? So I didn't want to sit him on his face to squish his nose or anything. So I actually put him in a little bowl. So he's laying down in a bowl. And I used a skewer, an old skewer, because I plan on maybe putting this one in my garden. So I hope you enjoyed creating with me. And I can't wait to see what you guys did make.